Okay, Ray, ready? Meeting will come to order, please. Roll.
Mr. Kelly,
Here.
Mr. Porter,
Here.
Mr. Bonner,
Here.
Mrs. Corzine,
Present.
Mr. Dennis.
Present.
The meeting is being recorded by audio tape and also live streamed. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with the addendum under Superintendent Recommendations Personnel?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Mr. Bonner, Mr. Porter, any discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Porter,
Yes.
Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
Mrs. Corzine,
Yes.
Mr. Dennis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Oh, I missed something. Pledge of Allegiance. Muriel, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome to visitors to this and all board meetings. The board desires citizens of the district to attend its meetings so that they become better acquainted with the operations and programs of the schools, and so that the board may have an opportunity to hear the wishes and ideas of the public. All meetings of the board are open to the public and the media. Did we have any forms?
Yes, Patrice Allen Hussey, are you here?
I'm here.
Would you like to address the board?
Hello.
Hello.
And thank you for the opportunity to speak to the board. My name is Patrice Allen Hussey. I live right here in Chillicothe, and I have two daughters that graduated from the school district. My husband and I are very proud of our daughters. They are very high-functioning people, they're very kind people, and they're very productive citizens in our society right now. And so I really attribute their success to all of the different type of people that have poured into their life and mentored them in this journey. So I'm here this afternoon because I have to believe in my heart that there's been some sort of miscommunication or break in communication that has occurred between the Ross County NAACP and its representatives from the Chillicothe City School Board and the district. Last year, our president, Adrienne D'Souza, spoke at a school board meeting to express her concerns about the need for more diversity in our school system. She presented scientific research and data regarding the importance of diversity in the classrooms for our children and their families. She mentioned that in the past, our chapter has assisted the district with recruiting new teachers and other staff members, and that she wanted to renew that working relationship. So as a result of her presentation, she met with the HR director to rekindle that relationship and start networking ideas. So next, two members, including myself, met with the district's HR executive director to collaborate and to offer ideas and strategies that could specifically target more diverse candidates, like attending job fairs at historically Black universities and colleges, incentivizing programs for new hirees that may include offering relocation fees, signing bonuses, and most importantly, marketing the city of Chillicothe as a great place to live, work, and grow a family. So despite of our efforts and an article from the Chillicothe Gazette that was published over the summer that specifically referenced our partnership with the district, The HR director has not followed up regarding our suggestions, our ideas, or with the information that was presented in the Zoom meeting. So as we move into another school year, we're here again, communicating a need to move our children into a more realistic view of the world. Cultural diversity is on the rise. When our children enter the professional world, they will join a vast and diverse workforce. So let's allow our children to practice acceptance and inclusion for people who may not look like them or have the same physical abilities at a younger age. So again, the task at hand is to reestablish the working relationship between the Ross County NAACP and the Chillicothe School District. Our goal is to assist in the development of a plan to recruit, employ, and retain a group of highly skilled and diverse group of educators. We are here to help, and we're ready to get started before the end of September 2022. Our children and their families and our community deserve it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I would like to schedule a meeting too, so that we could get started on a plan, okay? And share with you what we have been planning and doing, and then work with that further. So why don't you have my email, send me an email and yes, so let's schedule something. You're welcome. Okay, we didn't have any other speakers?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, student liaison report, Muriel.
So, as we just started school last week on Thursday, it's been very hectic, but at the same time, like so many good things have happened as well. So, a lot of the students have told me that they look forward to meeting the new teachers that have been hired all across the different the different schools in our district. They look forward to the fun events that have been promised by our student councils, and the seventh graders and the ninth graders are looking forward to transitioning from CIS to CMS or CMS to CHS. I'd like to recognize the hard work that our administrators have put into like starting this new school year, because a lot of new policies have been added and things to keep us safe, like rules that just keep people who may not have our best interest outside of the building. And a lot of these policies, like the dress code and the bathroom passes and our new grading scale, I've gotten a lot of feedback on them, and a lot of students are very pleased with the dress code. They think that it's very reasonable. They think that it's very, they're feeling like they've been heard and like people are actually listening, and that things that were once seen as reasonable are now known to be no longer understandable. So, however, a lot of students don't believe that 20 bathroom passes for a section of 9 weeks is enough, because that means you can't go to the bathroom once every single day, which raises a lot of concerns. And so just hoping that they can bring that number up a little bit from 20 to maybe just like enough for one every single day. And I want to end by just celebrating our sports. We just had a football game this past Friday, and I know that the middle school soccer team is having a game right now, and the football game went splendid. And throughout the summer, sports teams have been practicing through like cheer camps, band camps, football camp, tennis clinics, soccer, all these different sports have been practicing, and we hope that their seasons all go well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know you're very busy. She came from band practice and I think heads right back to band practice. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you. All right, next is treasurer reports and recommendations. Oh, no. I'm skipping over everything. Legislative update. That's you.
Well, good news, I don't have an update for tonight, so. But no, we continue to keep an eye on what's going on. Some of the things we've touched on the past, we're keeping an eye on how legislation is moving forward. But this month, we don't have anything to report.
All right, thank you. Now treasurer reports and recommendations.
My recommendations are A through K, as presented and sent to you prior to the meeting.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's recommendations?
So moved.
Mr. Kelly, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bonner? Any discussion? Roll, please.
Ms. Corzine,
Yes.
Mr. Dennis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Porter,
Yes.
Mr. Bonner.
Yes.
Superintendent recommendations.
Okay, I would like to recommend A through F, but I do want to take a second here to recognize Malik Kennard, and I know I saw her somewhere. Oh,
Is
she's
she-
hiding behind Brenda. She submitted her retirement. I said this into an email, but she has given us 32 years of wonderful music opportunities for our students, and she will be very missed. Tough shoes to fill. Our plan is to get her best year ever. So we're looking forward to that. But I do want to thank her for all of her years here of influencing a lot of students over the years.
Yes, we'll miss you very much.
She will be here to the end of the year. And then I'm also recommending the fleet supervisor. As you know, Rick Clark retired last Friday, and he had been in that job for a very, very, very long time. So we are recommending Brett. I cannot find his last name on here. Sorry. Collins, sorry, to fill his position as a fleet supervisor. We've added some additional duties to that in terms of safety upkeep for buses and overseeing that. We think that's pretty important. But Rick really did the job as one person, and it really was a 2 or 3 person job. So I am recommending A through F.
Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendations?
I'll motion.
Mr. Porter, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bonner, any discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
Mrs. Corzine,
Yes.
Mr. Dennis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
Yes.
And then there's a supplemental that was pulled out separately, a motion to approve Chris Constable as the CMS assistant football coach. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Mr. Porter, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bonner, any discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
Ms. Corzine,
Abstain.
Mr. Dennis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
Yes.
And then Ms. Corzine, I'd like to at least introduce Brett. He's
Oh,
here.
yes, please do.
And up here, Brett. This is Brett Collins, the person we've recommended for the fleet supervisor.
Anybody else here from our new?
I don't think so. 2, DeMarco? Did DeMarco? No, okay. No, that's it.
Okay. I didn't see any discussion or informational items. Any board member comments?
Yeah, yes. I have just a few comments and maybe we'll say something. First of all, yes, Miss Kennard, what a beloved individual and a great job. I know she is one of the most beloved teachers in our district for quite some time. And I hope she has a great year and she is going to be very much missed. And then we went kind of quick, so I'll take a little bit of time. I have a picture of a tree here that's right across the street from us. During the past week, a lot of attention has been given to Joseph Hoffman, and very deservedly so. Mr. Hoffman planted this tree 85 years ago, right there on Yaktangi Boulevard, then Park Street. I could ramble around and talk about this, but I do have a few things that's prepared. A lot of it is a little bit redundant from what the paper has said, but some of it's new. So I'll just read this brief statement about Mr. Hoffman, and I think he certainly deserves the respect in a couple of minutes of our time. The pictured English walnut was planted circa 1938 by Joseph Warren Hoffman, Chillicothe High School, class of 1936. Mr. Hoffman brought it back from England as a seedling to plant for his mother. Tragically, Mr. Hoffman was the first casualty of World War II from Ross County. He was one of 429 crew members of the USS Oklahoma that died on December 7th, 1941, when Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. Several torpedoes from torpedo bomber airplanes hit the Oklahoma's hull and the ship capsized. Survivors jumped off the ship 50 feet into burning hot water or crawled across mooring lines to the USS Maryland. Only 35 of the 429 sailors and Marines who died on the Oklahoma were identified in the following years after the attack. The remains of the 394 unidentified sailors and Marines were first interred at Mawa and Hawala cemeteries. They were all disinterred in 1947 in an unsuccessful attempt to identify more personnel. In 1950, all unidentified remains from the Oklahoma were buried in graves at the National Cemetery of the Pacific. In 2015, 65 years later, the Department of Defense exhumed for DNA analysis the unidentified remains of the crew members of the Oklahoma. By December of 2017, the identity of 100 crew members had been discovered. In 2020, Mr. Hoffman's remains were identified, making him approximately the 250th crew member of the Oklahoma to be identified. A funeral service for Mr. Hoffman was held on Saturday, August 20, 2022 at Ross County Veterans Memorial Park in Chillicothe, Ohio. Burial followed at Greenfield Cemetery with military rites provided by the U.S. Navy. Ironically, more than 80 years after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Ross County's first World War II casualty was the last to be brought home to his final resting place. On June 29, 2021, the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency announced the program was coming to an end. After the closing, 51 crew members could not be identified and returned to Hawaii and reinterred in the National Cemetery of the Pacific at Punch Bowl Crater during a ceremony on December 7th, 2021, the 80th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. So, Mr. Hoffman's gone, but the tree he's planted is there for all of us to enjoy and get our neighborhood. So, just something I wanted to bring up. It's even more tragic to thought about the Oklahoma, the air pocket. There were survivors in there. The depending on different reports, people heard tapping from the Hall of the Oklahoma for either a few days or possibly a few weeks, even more than a month. So quite a startling tale. So thank you for the indulging me with my little speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner. That was very interesting. Any other comments? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Porter. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thanks for coming, everyone.
It's a crazy story, isn't it?
85. How do they
Isn't
do the DNA?
I think from the bones.
It's still interesting. I'd love to see how they do it.
wasn't he buried near that church? What's that? Or no?
They had the funeral here, and he was buried in Greensville.
Okay.
Well, that's. I mean, I'm on the tree commission. That's what we do. That's one of his family members brought it up. They were searching